So today's build is going to be a treat for all of you Division 1 fans. I think I finally found a way to really effectively use this build. Yes, it's a challenge, but I found a way to make this build work. And as you guys are seeing in this gameplay, the damage is amazing. And if you can build that stack, it just becomes even more insane. And just watch this. Just watch the amount of damage we start doing as the stacks start catching up, and we're literally just melting these guys over and over and over. And I'm telling you, I'm having a ton of fun running this. I didn't even think it was really possible to have this much fun with this build, just because there are a lot of cons to this build. But if you guys can build the stack, I just see this just melting through these guys. It was no chance for these enemies. But let's get into the build. So the way we have this build set up is we are running the Police M4. If you guys notice, we have assault rifle damage, health damage, and then I did put damage to targets out of cover on here. Plus we have Instinct. So I'm going to pair this up with an assault turret that's also going to allow me to proc this. So I'll be getting additional 30% weapon damage and 30% skill damage when both are hitting simultaneously. And that's what's really cool about this. So that's what I like about In Sync. You can run a lot of different talents, but the extra 30% weapon damage that you get and the extra 30% skill damage is actually really good. Now for your secondary, run whatever you want. The only weapon I'll be using will be this Police M4. For the specialization, I'm choosing to run with the Gunner class. Just a lot of really cool perks that I like running this class for. So choose the class that you feel will work best for you. So you might have guessed it. Once I mentioned Division 1, well, here it is. The striker battle gear. Now the two-piece does gives me that 15% weapon handling, and that's why it looks like I have almost no recoil on the M4 when the M4 already has hardly any. Now it does have 15% rate of fire, which I definitely love, and the four-piece weapons hit amplify total weapon damage by 0.5%, stacking up to 50 times. Now you got to think about this. One stack is lost each second, two stacks are lost every time you miss. Now this is probably why it's one of the hardest builds to really run. I really feel like if they can really work on this four-piece, it could be a build that a lot of people want to run. Now it does have weapon damage on the mask with critical hit damage, and then I do have a critical hit damage mod on there. So yeah, that is exactly what I'm running on this build. Now we are gonna boost that four-piece with the chest piece, and I'll show you in a second. So for the chest, we are running, yep, you guessed it, another striker piece, and we do have weapon damage, critical hit damage, and then on this one we have critical hit chance. Now the reason I decided to go with the chest piece, because if you look at this, press and advantage increases max stacks of your striker gamble from 50 to 100, which that means that we're gonna get 50% extra damage versus that 25% extra damage. So that's amplified. So it's gonna weapon hits amplify total weapon damage, and if I have a max stack, I have a better chance of getting that 50%. So it could be anything up to 50%, and that's a lot of damage that you can get just off a chest piece. And I still think this piece right here, if they could fix the four-piece, would just make this one a more viable build, and more people would actually use it. For the holster, we decided to put a little bit of armor on this build, so we have armor rolled on here, and then I do have a crit chance mod. You are gonna have to roll, sorry, not a mod, roll. You are gonna have to roll at least one piece crit chance, because you do want to try to get close to that 50% critical hit chance on this, and I'll show you what mine is in just a second. For the knee pads, we ran with the Grupo Sombra. That's going to give us that 15% critical hit damage. We have weapon damage, crit chance, and critical hit damage on here. I decided to go with this over the Foxparrow knee pads because I did want to have a little bit more critical hit damage on this build, and I didn't want to sacrifice that much critical hit damage. Now, if you already have a lot of critical hit damage on the build, then you could probably switch this out for the Foxparrow. But remember, there's only going to be two pieces that you can use, since we do have four pieces of striker battle gear. But play with it around and see how you like it. But I decided to put the Grupo Sombra for the 15% critical damage, and we have weapon damage, crit damage, and then crit damage mod. Sorry, and then another crit damage roll. For the gloves is our final piece of striker battle gear. So we have weapon damage, critical hit damage. And then for the backpack, I decided to go with the Memento backpack. Yes, I tried it a lot of different ways. I tried running a Grupo Soma backpack with the Foxparrow knee pads, and then I decided to just use the Memento backpack, because once you have that full stack, that's extra 30% weapon damage. Anytime I pick up a trophy and I have 5 reds, that's gonna give me 25% extra weapon damage on top of that. So not only that, it allows me to have weapon damage, armor rolls on there, skill tier, so that helps out my striker drone. It also helps out my crusader shield, and then I did put a critical hit chance mod on here. I really think this backpack with the striker battle gear is probably one of the better ways to run the striker set, and I think a lot of you guys, if you guys play with it, remember this set is definitely challenging to run, but if you can figure it out, you will have a lot of fun with it. So let's over to the stats so you can see we are running 47.8% critical hit chance, almost that 50% that I want to try to get to. Remember, cap is 60, so if I get around 50% with this build that I hardly have any rolls, it actually helps out. We have 120% critical hit damage. We have headshot damage of 75%, and then remember, we do have that 10% damage to targets out of cover and 20% health damage. So a lot of damage that we're getting there, plus we get the amplified damage. If we have a full stack, that's on top of that, and then if we have the memento backpack stack, that's extra 30%, plus every time we pick up a trophy, another 25%. So you can see where the damage just starts to really come in, and that's why with this build, it's probably the better way to run it is with that memento. Now you could try vigilance. I'm just telling you, I tried both ways, and I really like the survivability that I got with memento, and I was able to stay up, and as you guys saw in the gameplay, put out some pretty decent damage. So for the skills, we are running the striker drone like I said. I just feel like this one works the best. It helps proc and sync, main reason I'm running it. And then we have the crusader shield. As you guys see, we are tier 3 because we have 2 blues on here, plus we have a yellow, so that helps out, right? That gives us a little bit stronger shield to give us that little bit of survivability, and that's why I really do appreciate being able to stack at least 2 blues with the memento backpack and having that extra skill tier. So just really good benefits from running that, and that's how I'm running this build, guys. I'm telling you guys, this right here is a beast of a build if you can figure out how to run it. I still 100% think that they need to tweak this a little bit because it's one of those builds that there's a lot of negatives to pros, right? So like you want to have a build that has pros to cons, and you know, you can balance it out. But with this one, you have a little bit more cons, but if you can like manage it, you can see how powerful it is, and it's actually really fun to play, especially when you build that stack. You just see how much damage you're doing. If you guys saw this gameplay, I was doing it. I was doing exactly what I was saying, and it's definitely a lot of fun. So if you guys have any questions on the build, how I have this build set, if you guys have any recommendations, hey, let me know in the comment section. I appreciate the support, appreciate the love that you guys been showing the channel. And look, we got some heroic rogue agents. Threw a little you know, a little nade, get him stuck, and then was able just to build that stack on him and just melt him in pretty much seconds. And same thing with his buddy over here who's trying to run away. So the build definitely works, but I will tell you 100% it is, you do have to play a certain way, and you will die if you don't. So that's it. Let me know what you guys think. I'll see you guys in the next one, but until then, nothing but skills out.